So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first?
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Who Talks First. I'm one of your hosts, I'm CT.
I'm your other host, I'm Solo.
And we're a mostly Star Wars podcast.
Yep, mostly Star Wars.
And to most of you, we're probably an all Star Wars podcast, because you don't pay attention to the ones that aren't about Star Wars.
Yep, that's probably true.
I mean, I don't care, I'm happy when things do well. But anyway, this week is another Star Wars one, so hopefully you're tuning in
case you couldn't tell by the title.
There's a lot of news this week, so we'll start off with something small. The Last Jedi trailer 2 has been teased.
Teased?
Basically just teased. In some website they kind of had something that Lucasfilm registered another trailer for it, and it's like a minute and a half long, so ooh.
Probably gonna be a D23.
Yeah, people, D23 or SDCC. I'm still thinking not SDCC, D23, just because I think Disney is trying to pull back from Comic-Con.
I think so too.
But again, I don't know that for sure, but I'm also hoping for D23 because that's the one I'm going to be at.
Right.
And speaking of D23, they announced a bunch of the exclusive products are going to be sold there. Mm-hmm. There's a Shock Trooper mug, which I'll get us if... I'm like, no just clone, but close enough if I get that.
It's close to it, yeah.
But the ones I'm most excited about is they're making these limited edition like action figure dolls, and they're hero villain sets, so...
So Rey and Kylo are in a set?
Yeah, they are.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, so they come together, so I will likely... They're limited edition 1,000 though, so hopefully I can...
Good luck.
Yeah, that's gonna be really difficult.
Why isn't there an Obi-Wan and Anakin set?
No, it's Leia, Vader, they did all the girls, and Jyn and Krennic.
Okay.
So at that point I'm like, I won't think it's that weird, but I'm like, no, you can make the ladies, I'm fine with that.
That's fine.
Since they had to make all the villains are boys anyway, so...
Yeah, you're right.
But make a Ahsoka Ventress one.
Ooh.
Dude, double whammy there. I would love that. But basically those are the things I'm most excited for at D23. I still haven't got my badge yet. So hopefully going to get that soon.
You didn't
No, I paid for it. Didn't get it in the mail.
I was like, that's a problem. If you didn't pay for it yet, didn't you say some days were sold out?
No, I meant I didn't get it in the mail. Because I want to be able to go straight
right. You don't want
into that
stand in a
con center and hopefully... I mean, I will stand in lines at D23. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously I will for things I'm stupidly passionate about, but every year that I've gone to D23, which is the last... It's an every other year con, so I've gone since I've lived here, so this is going to be my third one. I've stood in line for like 3 hours to get into a store.
Well, you know.
And I wish I had known how big Frozen was going to be at the time, because D23 has early releases for stuff, which... I doubt it, but fingers crossed, early releases for...
The dolls?
The Forces of Destiny dolls.
Ooh.
I would be so freaking pumped. But they had the early releases for the Frozen dolls, and since Frozen was this huge sensation, I bought the early releases of the Frozen dolls, and they're just like the Target ones, but they were sold out over Christmas. They were so hard to find that my $20 dolls were selling for like $2,000.
Yeah.
Like, wish I would have known that at the time. I should have just sold it, because...
Kind of should have.
I wasn't thinking, but...
You're like, but I want it.
Yeah. But they were just, like, kind of like the Target dolls. And mine probably would have been worth a little bit more because they had the D23 sticker on it, which technically that makes it special. But my big hopes are... We don't have pictures of the hero-villain dolls yet.
Ooh. They might be real bad.
They might be really bad. They're not that expensive, so I'm thinking they're not going to be great quality. I think they're $80 for 2. So... Like, with the limited edition dolls, like my, the fairy tale dolls, those are, like, $200. And, Yeah.
And they kind of look like it, so...
Yeah. So who knows what their quality will be, but I kind of...
Right now you're excited.
Yeah.
You might get in that line, look at them and go, never mind.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? But I'll be in that line for 2 hours anyway. But yeah, the Last Jedi trailer teaser, or Last Jedi trailer, teaser.
Second trailer.
Yeah,
Last
that's
Jedi.
going to be happening soon-ish. But yeah, let's talk about the big drama of the week, which might end up being this week's topic, depending on how long we go. But, so, big news from the Han Solo set. Lord and Miller, who was the directing team, they were let go.
They were banished.
There has been a lot of he said, she said about what happened, if they stepped down, if they were let go. I think, I mean, obviously a lot of this is going to be speculation of what exactly happened because we don't really know. But
and I don't think we'll ever know.
I think they were probably let go, but they may have sort of known it was coming.
Yeah, they might have been let go and probably didn't fight it because they were probably like, we kind of figure this is about to happen because we've had a lot of creative differences.
Runnings. So, from what we've heard in the rumor mill, I mean, I just kind of want to talk about it because it is really interesting. And for me personally, it would be hypocritical of me to not take a positive spin on this because for me, this means Lucasfilm is not afraid to look at a movie and go, this isn't what we want, no matter how far they are in. They're only a few weeks from stopping or from finishing shooting, like their original schedule. And obviously with my initial concerns with Colin Trevorrow, this is encouraging to me.
Yes.
Like, again, not to say anything bad about Lord and Miller because they've done good movies.
Yes, absolutely. Like, the Lego Movie is probably one of my favorite movies of all time because it was so funny, and then at the end it was so touching. I had no idea that movie was gonna, like, hit me the way it did.
And, the new 21 Jump Streets, I can't talk today.
Okay.
Have been really well received. I personally don't like them, but that's just not my
It's
type
not our
of
sense of
film.
humor.
No, and I didn't think the Han Solo movie was going to be my type of
Yeah.
film anyway, so...
It was a movie that I was going to see. Period.
Yep. I'm like, I'll see it. I'll probably just out of, like, obligation to Star Wars, I'd see it early, but, like...
Same.
There was no part of me who was kind of excited about it. But, so, again, I'm just optimistic with this. The main speculation for what happened is that there was some major discourse between Lawrence Kasdan and who wrote the movie and the directors. And for those of you who don't know, Lawrence Kasdan is a big Star Wars deal.
Yeah.
He wrote the screenplay for Empire Strikes Back. He had hand in writing. He was part of the Force Awakens team, and he was part of not the Last Jedi, Return of the Jedi team. So, needless to say, Han Solo is like his baby. Like,
he's like, I know Han. I've been writing him for years.
And so, just based off that information alone, not that I'm taking sides or anything, because I'm sure it's not like one person was right, one person was wrong.
Yeah, and it's not. I don't feel that the directors probably had ill intentions either.
No.
I just feel like they probably wanted Han to be a character that he's not.
Or that he couldn't be.
Right.
For his journey in the sequel trilogy and the original trilogy to be as impactful as it was.
Right.
Because, and another, like, part of the Lawrence Kasdan thing is he's very much, you read what's on the script, and the Lord and Miller are very much improv people, and usually, I'm a big fan of improv. I think you get some of the best lines and moments from scenes that weren't necessarily scripted.
Absolutely.
Because you can trust the actors to make these choices for their characters, and sometimes they're really funny, sometimes they can be really touching.
Yep. The backhand in Rogue One. Hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Hilarious. That's one of my favorite...
It's one of my favorite moments in the entire movie. And that was
improv. And that was one thing that Rogue One was praised for, was the improv. But again, Lawrence Kasdan didn't write Rogue One. So this is not really... Like, I think a lot of people are blaming Lucasfilm instead of just, like, the personalities of the people. Because it was one thing that Gareth Edwards, who was the director of Rogue One... I'm jumping all over the place because there's so much to, like, talk about with this. Because Rogue One had some help. And Gareth Edwards, one of the things they said about him is he films everything. Like, he films things 20 different ways. And so...
And he likes to do it as little takes as possible because he wants it to look as organic as possible.
But he'll, again, give them lots of options. But at the end of shooting, they did do a lot of reshoots for Rogue One. And I think at the end of the day, we'll go back and further discuss even deeper. It's that the Lord and Miller weren't... They had their own creative vision, what they really wanted to do. and they weren't as willing to collaborate as maybe like Gareth Edwards was, because they just brought in another director for Rogue One to help out. Mm-hmm. They're like, okay, we're gonna bring in somebody else, and they didn't take him off of it, because I think Gareth was more like, okay, you can come help me. And Gareth was newer to the scene too.
Right.
Lord and Miller are a little more established, so maybe that's a little more why.
And they're already 2 people, so they're like, we don't need a third
director. And I think, and also Lawrence Kasdan, like, I can see siding with him, and speaking for Kathleen Kennedy, just because he's been on those movies for so long. And
this is a universe that's taking place in the original trilogy universe. Like, mm-hmm. I guess it's kind of maybe a prequel, but it's way closer to the original trilogies than anything. Well, not closer than Rogue One, but...
Yeah. But the thing was with Rogue One was an entirely new cast of characters.
And you didn't have to worry about many characters' personalities. Mm-hmm. Because the only characters that really show up in Rogue One are characters like oh my god,
like pre-established one. Oh, Bail, yeah. Like, Bail Organa
and like
Mon Mothma.
Mm-hmm. Characters that you see for like a second, so they're not really going to do anything to break your illusion mm-hmm. of their character. But the Han Solo movie, the biggest worry that we had was that he was going to go through this character journey, and then it would cheapen his character journey later on in the original trilogy.
Because I hate to say it, like, there's part of me that's gonna be just pretty blatant about it. Like, I could see Lord and Miller wanting to give Han, like, a complete story arc, and they're like, you can't.
You can't.
Han has to end this movie, and should probably be it for the entirety of it, an asshole.
Yeah.
A selfish asshole.
Because that's who Han Solo is, especially in the beginning. Mm-hmm. That's who he is when you meet him. That's who he is for a lot of those movies.
Yeah. And I could see them wanting to go the route of maybe you seeing why he's the way he is. Mm. And that could be okay. But I don't know. Something about it doesn't totally sit right with me. Mm-hmm. Like, only because I'm so worried it would be about a love interest.
Right. If it were something
and
that happened with
I don't
his
know
family.
that could be totally off what the track they were doing. But
it absolutely could be. But when you see the cast that's announced, mm-hmm. and the only woman that is announced is Daenerys,
yeah.
And she's just, like, known for being this attractive, like, waifish woman. And you're like, Star Wars, I see you. Mm-hmm. And she's got, like, she's a brunette, mm-hmm. which is what
she's a British brunette, elfish British brunette.
And you're like, you guys have a trend, and this is not a good sign for me, mm-hmm. because I don't need it. I don't need this. Han doesn't need this. Leia doesn't need this. And also, I don't want another trope. I don't want her to become another trope where she, like, dies for Han's man.
And that's why, like, because that's actually, like, exactly. That's where I kind of saw it going. Mm-hmm. And there's no evidence for me to think that's where it, like, canonly, like, we haven't had a spoiler for me to think that's where it was going. Just maybe my hardened mind. I could hope for the best, but
we don't have any solid evidence, but we have a lot of contextual clues that I think can lead us to that point, though.
Yeah.
And maybe they were going to do something completely different. But again, there are these tropes, especially just inside the Star Wars universe, that make me go, okay, all right, oh no.
So, but yeah, I'm hoping this is for the best. Mm-hmm. I trust them. I've loved The Force Awakens. I loved Rogue One. Mm-hmm. So the Disney-owned era. I love Star Wars Rebels. Like, everything that they've produced so far, the new books, I've big fan of everything they've come out with. So I do really trust their vision of this movie and Han as a character. Because I think, just from what we're hearing, it was Han's characterization that they were having the biggest problem with. And like I said before, if I'm going to trust one over the other, I'm going to trust
the guy who's been writing Han since the beginning, basically.
And not to say that Lord Miller had a bad interpretation, but I can definitely see them wanting to go more humorous and making him maybe a little bit too likable.
Yeah, I was going to say, they probably wanted their main character to be likable, which you can't make Han likable in the beginning. Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously,
you can have these glimpses into him.
He's like this. He's likable in the fact that he's like this sarcastic, selfish,
and
like
he
asshole.
says what he means and he does what he means.
But he's not like a good guy likable.
And you can show him being likable in like only his interactions with Chewie when they're like friends. But I could see them wanting to like broaden Han's likability with everybody and have him be nice to everybody. And I'm like, no, Han's a dick.
I'm gonna go on a Han, like, because I love this. I just saw, there's like a snippet from A New Hope book when Obi-Wan dies and Han sees it. And Han has this inner dialogue about how, like, this crazy old man sacrificed himself to save these people that he barely knew. And then Han goes, like, thinks about how he likes to think that he could do that for someone someday.
But he absolutely wouldn't. Oh!
But, yeah.
Oh, but he would.
He did.
He did it for Ben later, yeah.
And I'm like, oh my god, that's good. He's like, I like to think that I would do that too, but at that time, he
absolutely wouldn't.
So that's why it's like a really nice full circle that he kind of took inspiration from Obi-Wan in his final moments.
He took inspiration from Ben's namesake.
Yep. Come on, Kylo. Come on. So yeah, a lot of people, they when Lord and Miller left, they said it was creative differences, and that is pretty much like a BS term, but they said it was, like, no, this time, seriously, creative differences. And I really have no reason to think poorly of this decision. In fact, again, if anything, it makes me feel more confident in Lucasfilm that they know what they're doing. And yeah, with Rogue One, they had these issues. And they sent in another director, and I thought Rogue One turned out great. Some people don't like Rogue One, but I'm gonna go overall critic-wise. Like, Force Awakens has a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. Rogue One has, I think, like 82%.
Really? It's lower than The Force Awakens?
Oh, yeah.
That's curious to me.
Like, that's not curious to me, but I like Force Awakens technically more. But it's... but either way, both of them are very highly rated. Like, that's... They're both. I think they're both still certified fresh.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And, like, they both did good jobs.
Yeah.
For, like, critically acclaimed.
Good job.
Yep.
As Obi-Wan would say.
Films. So, yeah, I feel a little bit better about Colin Trevorrow. And if he's not doing great...
They'll just pull the plug.
Yeah. And because with Colin... I've said this before, I said this last week, I like so much what he's had to say about these characters, and about what he believes as, like, a storyteller and as a person. Like, what he'll say in these interviews about how you should give people chances at, like, love and redemption, and, like, this. I'm like, good, this is what I want to hear.
Right.
I haven't seen
you do that in a movie yet, but...
No, but... And Safety Not Guaranteed, not a film that I've seen... But that has like a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, which that's...
One of these days we need to sit down and watch it.
Yeah. It seems like kind of that hipster era, like, Juno film kind of type of film, which those are all right to me. But, I'm like, that's a good solid rating.
Yeah.
And Jurassic World was like a 72. And I mean, not to say that Rotten Tomatoes scores are end-all scores, but just as a general consensus. And then Book of Henry has a... shining 24%. So...
Great.
Woo! But from this whole thing, I believe that Lucasfilm isn't afraid to... when something's gone wrong. Because I think...
Well, they know they're... Like, these are kind of investments. And, like, they're like, oh, we're gonna protect our IP. We're not gonna let you, like, drag this down. And... It does instill a little bit of confidence in me, too, because, again, the Han Solo movie, neither of us we cared about, and our biggest worries were exactly what I think was going to happen. So I don't know. I just think that this will be a better movie now.
Yeah.
I don't even know who they are going to bring in, but I'm like, ooh, well.
Right now, Ron Howard is their, like, top choice, I think, but also actually just having Lawrence Kasdan direct it, which... I don't think it's a horrible idea, because he's actually been a director before.
Right.
I haven't seen any of his films, but especially if that's, like, the main reason why if that course was the main reason why Lord and Miller left, it'd be interesting to see who they bring on as a new director.
Yeah.
because they only have a couple weeks left, and there's going to be a lot of reshoots, I assume. Because it doesn't seem to be an issue with the script, luckily. I think it has just an issue with the direction of the acting.
Them telling the guy playing Han Solo how to play Han Solo, basically, is what I see in my mind.
Yeah, I agree, because this all happened after the production took, like, a hiatus, and they reviewed the footage. And apparently Kathleen Kennedy's been kind of concerned about this movie for a while. Everyone's, like, freaking out about everything else. Apparently she loves Last Jedi. If the rumors are right, that they really love Last Jedi, and they're really worried about Han Solo.
Yep.
Which, I don't...
Just cancel it and give me an Obi-Wan movie.
My favorite post on, like, Twitter was just, like... Or maybe it was Tumblr. Was to just burn the footage and pretend it never happened, because... I mean, obviously, a lot of people do want this movie. I am not one of these people that thinks this movie is important, especially right now. And maybe it's my nostalgia getting in the way, but...
Again, if the movie had taken place when had started when he was, like, younger...
Like, even, like, 14, 15.
Yes.
Like, Tom Holland kid age.
Yes. Because then you can show a character growth, because you can show him being this bright young boy to then becoming this sarcastic asshole.
And we did hear that this movie did take place over 6 years, but it's still Aaron...
But it's when he's an adult.
It's still him as an adult, and him not looking much different in age than our Han Solo.
It's not a significant... It's not, like, child development 6 years age gap. It is, you're an adult and you pretty much know who you are.
Yep.
You can still be shaped by these huge, like, monumental things happening in your life, but for the most part, you are who you are.
And one of the funniest things I find about this whole debacle is that fans are so fickle. Because Rian Johnson made the statement in Vanity Fair that he basically had complete creative control over The Last Jedi, and fandom, including myself, I won't say that I didn't, kind of freaked out.
Right.
Because... to me, it was reading that they had no set-up plot points or character arcs. And so, I wasn't as much worried for Ryan as I was worried for Colin. But if Ryan was like, I did the entire thing, and all I had before me was The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Like, so you didn't really have to... There was nothing they were setting up that they made you follow through?
Right.
So, I mean, admittedly, I was concerned about that. But he was just saying Disney was so good with giving him creative liberty, and now they're like Lord and Miller were not given that, and that's what ended up making them leave, and people are like, oh, it's a dictatorship, oh, Disney's the worst. Like, either way.
Yeah. Which one is it, guys?
Either they have a firm vision, and they want the directors to follow that, and if they're not, then they're like, sorry, this isn't going to work out then. And then you're like, Disney's a dictatorship, when 2 weeks ago, you were like, Disney has no idea what they're doing, they're just letting anybody do whatever they want. God.
And of course the Han Solo movie is going to have a firmer grasp, because this is a movie that can like, retcon things, kind of.
Exactly. No, it can. The sequel trilogy... in a way, you're on safe ground because it's all...
in the future.
Even, like, the prequel trilogy, they had to be more careful because it could affect the original trilogy. But this can retcon stuff. They have to be careful. And you're with pre-established characters like Chewie, Han, and Lando.
Yeah.
These are all characters that
are really well-liked, really beloved to people, and they have to still read as those characters. Even the prequel trilogy had way more grounds to go off of, because you knew that Anakin was becoming Vader, but you didn't know who Darth Vader was before that. You knew Obi-Wan, but also he was kind of like a kooky old man. He was kind of, they did the Yoda thing where they're like, oh, well, in his old age, he got kind of weird. So who they were as young adults and, like, actual adults... you had way more creative liberty with that. Yeah. Because they could have completely been different going in the original trilogy. And they were. And
exactly.
It still makes sense, because you're like, oh, well okay.
It's a big difference between, like, 20 years and, like, 3 years, I think.
Yeah. 20 years
6
and
years.
Your body being consumed in lava. And 20 years and you having to kill your best friend. Those are things that I'm like, even if you're an adult, those things are going to change you.
Yeah. So... it'll be interesting how, like, who comes in as a new director, if more details come out about this. Maybe I'm just so sour by Star Wars fandom right now that I need to take things as good news. Because again, I like these directors. They animate a lot of animated stuff, and I'm a huge, like, I like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs too. That's a cute film. Is it one of my favorites? No, but it's a cute film.
It was definitely still fun, and I enjoyed it.
And, like, if I'm, again, like, I'm speculating, I think it was probably the characterization of Han in particular. And...
Well, looking at the main characters, well, the only two movies that we really know are Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and the Lego Movie.
And, technically, 21 Jump Street.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you know that character?
I mean, I don't know it, but I've seen it.
Okay.
But
because I'm like, I can see them wanting to make one of those characters basically be the main character, and you're like, you can't do that. They kind of have a type.
Yeah. And I mean,
that's
21 Jump Street's a lot of, like, kind of stupid humor. People are probably going to get mad at me for this comparison, but I can't really think of any other, like, I would compare it to the humor of, like, 40-Year-Old Virgin and Hangover, like, those types of movies.
I mean, I would agree. That's why I never saw the movie.
Yeah. So, I mean, those movies are very well liked, but that kind of comedy doesn't fit with,
the Star
Wars
universe, especially not Han Solo.
And especially Han Solo, where he is in his...
Again,
outline.
if it would have been a younger one, where it's like him and Lando when they're first meeting, or him when he's like first getting Chewie, or something when they're like...
Because I would love, like, Kid Han and
I
Lando.
would be fine with that. I would be like, oh, I can see that sense of humor, because it's when they're kids.
Yeah, because I still think this is going to be more comedic.
Oh yeah, me too.
But I just don't think it can be like a
it
whole
can't
movie
be
of
a
a laugh
comedy.
out loud comedy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, I've read what everyone has said, and even with how biased it was towards the directors, I'm still, like, I don't even want to say taking the sides, but I should say I'm still having faith in Lucasfilm's decision, because they have, to me, all of their content so far has been great. Their adjustments to Rogue One,
So good.
so good. Like, who knows what the original cut was?
I couldn't imagine loving the movie more. To be honest, I love that movie.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they filmed endings where they didn't die. I think they took out the I Rebel line, so Lucasfilm, I trust you.
Yep.
Like, reshoots resulted.
You
in
guys
taking
love
out the
that
I
so much.
Rebel line, so thank God.
You put that in trailers, and we all went, what?
What? That's a stupid line. And it was like your tagline for it too,
Yep.
and then I'm glad that was taken out.
Yep.
I mean, there was a lot of cool shots that could have been in the movie, but
Well, yeah.
like the running on the beach scene, like, cool stuff, but I think at the end of the day we got a much better film.
I think we got an amazing film.
Due to these changes. So, luckily, I would maybe be more concerned or nervous if this was, like, Last Jedi, if they just decided to take Rian Johnson off right now when he's in editing.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't care much about this movie in the first place. So maybe that's why I'm so optimistic about it, because...
I also don't understand the people who are getting so upset, because it kind of does seem like it's a fight between this man who has been writing Han Solo for years that fanboys should love, because they love Han Solo, and without this guy, Han wouldn't be who he is.
Yeah.
And they're so upset, because it's kind of like him versus these new guys, and they're taking the sides of the new guys.
It's like,
I'm like...
Because these guys also love 21 Jump Street.
Well...
I mean, they're all really talented people, but...
Oh, absolutely. And I do not think that Lord and Miller are bad people. I don't think that they're bad directors. I just think this wasn't maybe an ill fit for them.
Yeah. I think, like, when they want to have this creative freedom, going to pre-established Star Wars characters is not where...
In like a very narrow
time
before the original movies.
Is not the place where you want to go.
Yeah.
So I think it was just
give them the Boba Fett movie.
A collaborative thing. And even with Ryan, maybe it was so easy for him is because he shared their vision. So he's not going to have any run-ins, because JJ, even in an interview, was saying that we were setting up these things, and luckily Ryan had the same vision as we did. So if Ryan's not really thinking any differently, maybe that's part of the reason why he hadn't had any of these issues.
Right.
So I mean, that's why you can have these two totally different experiences. It's just from two people thinking alike and two people thinking differently. Mm-hmm. So, who knows? But I hope, because I hope the best for Colin Trevorrow, so I hope the best for 9, because I do think he thinks he's in the right headspace for it. Or not he approaches things, I think he thinks he approaches things the right way.
Yes. I also think he thinks that.
A little part of me hopes they're like, hey, Ryan, do you want to be, like, an executive producer or something so you can kind of keep an eye on things? Mm-hmm. Because that's what JJ is doing with Last Jedi. He's the executive producer, so he's like, I have money in this. I want this to be a good film, too. So
Right.
And I think Colin, maybe, who knows? I'm saying a lot about him for they're not even filming yet. But maybe he's more willing to collaborate, or open to, I shouldn't say willing, but open to collaboration with the other directors, and so he might be more guided by certain things. So, we'll see what happens. But, long story short, at the end of the day, this just means that if Colin F's up 9, they're not afraid to be like, hard reset.
Yep, bye!
And I hope that they just have Rian Johnson finish it. That'd be my,
No, my perfect world is that they bring on Patty.
The only reason I would say Ryan over Patty
is because he was building.
Yeah, he was building it.
It's true.
And he's been building it since the first one, so he kind of knows the whole thing.
You're right.
No, that's the only reason I would say that, is because I just want this story to be.
You say that now. Watch us go into the next movie. It could be awful.
It could be awful, but we've heard good rumors that Kathleen Kennedy is really liking where Last Jedi is right now. So.
I mean, yeah.
But
who knows?
Who knows? It could suck.
I'm just setting this up because this stuff is recorded on the internet.
We're gonna have a live stream of us eating our socks when Rey ends up being a Skywalker.
Yeah.
We're like, there you go. First thing on the island, Luke's like, oh, that
my daughter. I recognize you. God. Clearly my child.
I'm just gonna walk out of the theater or just take off my socks and just start eating them right then and there and be like, alright.
If that was the first thing that would happen, I would go and demand my money back.
Yeah. Luckily, I think the first line is, who are you? Because that was in the stockholders, clips, was them standing there and Luke being like, who are you?
Who are you, small child?
Where you at?
Look at your fancy hair.
So yeah, a lot of drama going on with Han Solo. Hopefully it means good things for the franchise as a whole. I see why people are upset, but I think this is probably the best in the long run.
I'm saying this as a person who doesn't even like Han Solo, but I'm like, but you have to get his character right.
Yeah, you do.
You do.
And one of the quotes exactly from a source was they were writing him too funny when he's sarcastic and selfish. Or having him act his little acting things for him as funny. I mean, Han has some of the funniest lines.
Well, right, but they're still dry sarcasm lines.
It's the how are you line, but it's not him trying to be a wise kraken.
It's not how are you, and then he turns to everyone and he's like, ha! Wasn't I funny?
That's not how the Force works. It's a funny line, but it's not Han being a wise cracking thing. He's like, oh my, everyone's an idiot. That's not how the Force works. Oh my god. He's dry, sarcastic, and selfish.
Yep.
But yeah, anything else you want to add about director drama?
Nah.
Hope it means good things. I mean, Last Jedi, there's been nothing for Last Jedi that has come out yet that I've been angry about. So I have my fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Last on my news list, and this is sort of a spoiler, so if you want to not be spoiled...
What level spoiler would you say it is?
Legos.
Oh.
You care about Legos?
Lego level spoilers? I would say that is a pretty low... I think I know exactly what it is that you're about to talk about. And I think it's a very mild spoiler, guys, so...
So here we go. Snoke is a people!
Snoke is a people.
This is... Alright, so the Legos were sort of leaked, and we got kind of close-ups of all the minifigs. Kylo's adorable. I want him so bad. And Kylo and Luke come together with Kylo's TIE Fighter. which I'll probably actually really get that set.
It's probably going to be very expensive.
Probably, because you get Kylo and Luke.
Yeah, and his fighter. It's that big like V one, right?
No, it's his TIE fighter. It's new.
Wait, he has a TIE fighter?
You didn't know that? Yeah, he's gonna have a new TIE fighter.
That's fun.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'll sidetrack because this is sort of the rumor mill, and the rumors is that his TIE fighter is set up like the Millennium Falcon on the inside too. And I'm like, that, like, to me, that headcanon is like, that's the thing he knows how to fly, is he knows how to fly the Falcon, so that's why his personalized TIE fighter is set up that way.
I also hope that he walks into it and it causes him extreme man pain, because he's like, this is set up like my dad's ship and I killed my dad. Oh my god.
Oh god. Snoke's just trying to kill him.
Yep.
But
oh my god, though, that's like beautiful, because that's like when Palpatine sets up Anakin on Mustafar and he's like, remember this. This was the moment that made you.
Like, I don't think it'll ever truly be brought up in the movie.
That doesn't matter.
I
mean, it wasn't really brought up on Rogue One either, but we were like...
But the rumors are that the inside of Kylo's TIE fighter is very reminiscent of the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon.
Where his parents had sex. And made him.
Oh god! Kylo's turn to the dark side is the psychometry.
Yeah, I think
so. Is the touching things and seeing what happened there.
And yep, he was like, my parents had sex here! Ah!
They had sex everywhere! Oh my god! This whole ship! Get me out of here! I'm leaving.
Go to stay with Uncle Luke. Packs a bag and he sees more. He's like, my backpack!
And then he like hugs his Uncle Luke and sees Luke and Leia like kissing. He's like, oh my god, what's wrong with my family? I gotta go! I'm really out of here. But
y'all are nasty.
Anyway, we were talking about Snoke.
Yeah, anyway, Snoke's a people.
He's a people.
His Lego is light person skin color, not gray at all.
No, so he's like
just a
pink
white
skinned.
guy. Yeah.
He looks like a white guy. He looks like Goldmember.
Yeah, he
looks like Goldmember. Deep V robe.
Him and Rey are they both got that deep V going on this movie.
I know. I love the jokes all about it's like what we wanted, like Kylo like shirtless, what we get, like Snoke in a deep V.
You're like, oh great.
Did I say Snope? I might have.
You might have. That's his name, Snope.
Snope Dogg. Snoke Dogg. That's who he is.
Got it.
This is like so weird for me. Because I think they're trying to drive home the point that Snoke's not a Sith and maybe projected himself more gray to seem more daunting. But for him to be like pink-skinned colored is
it's weird for me. I wanted him to be an alien, and now I'm like, is he a person?
And I still think he's supposed to be humanoid, not human. But it's gonna make him that much more creepy. I think a lot of the creatures in this movie are gonna creep me out. Like, I'm
excited for it.
They're gonna give me, but you liked Constable Zuvio, and Constable Zuvio,
the kitty, he looks like a kitty!
Oh, he's too uncanny valley for
me.
He
looks like one of the Sphinx cats.
Oh god, it's so, like, looking at images of what he looked like in filming weirds me out, and I have a feeling Snoke is gonna give that same effect, which is good.
Yeah, I mean... It'll be nice to finally... You can look at him and be like, guys, that's the villain of the movie. Remember when you said the movie has to have a villain and you guys were convinced it's Kylo?
And we do know Rian Johnson really doesn't care about Snoke, so we're not going to get much. But we'll know that he's the... I mean, Palpatine didn't make a real appearance.
Until what? Yeah.
He was sort of into, but like a real appearance until the last film.
Right.
So, it just... And we also heard rumors that Snoke's a puppet. So, this is... I cannot wait to see, like, what this looks like in the movie.
Yeah, I'm really, really curious and excited to see what Snoke is going to be.
I can't believe he's a people!
Me neither. I was definitely convinced he was a big gray alien.
Yep.
And now I'm like
I didn't think he was, like, as big as he was projecting.
No,
so obviously just for clarifications for comments.
Oh yeah, no. I kind of just figured he was like maybe like a 7-8 foot tall. Like he was definitely taller than most people.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going like 8-foot range, like the Kaminoans.
Yes, exactly. Because I just see him towering over Kylo even when they're actually next to each other. Yeah. And Kylo's a tall boy.
He is a tall boy, and they put him in lifts too. Yeah,
he is a tall boy.
Well, so speaking of Kylo's lifts, because you can see them on the cover of Vanity Fair, I bought all 4 covers of Vanity Fair, and they're different. So if you still haven't bought yours, the one I recommend is the First Order cover. I think you get the best arrangement of photos on the inside, because you get Big Rey on it, and
you get Big Rey in the Kylo version, huh?
Yeah, well, you get the big one of Rey and the lightsaber, and you basically get all, and like the only one you don't get, I don't remember, but it was one that I was like, it's fine. But for me, you got the best combination with the First Order cover. So if you were debating, each cover has a different arrangement of
photos on the inside.
Because a lot of them, or 2 of them, the Rey photo is super small. Like, it's like a quarter of a page. And the First Order one, it's like
She's
a 2-page spread. Yeah. So, it's some good stuff. But actually, we're pretty long on the podcast, so I think I'm going to cut out part 2 and we'll save that for
some time else.
Yeah. So next week, because I want to upload this podcast early. Just because you guys asked for it. I did a poll on the Twitter.
Oh, so that's why we covered it. Got it.
Yeah.
Are you guys happy? Are you happy? Is this what you wanted? Me talking about Han Solo, the guy that I hate.
Like, it's just such an interesting...
No, it definitely is
situation. And I think a lot of people are freaking out. So I did kind of want to add my 2 cents of, like, I think it's...
I don't think it's anything worth freaking out over, to be honest.
If anything, it gives me some peace of mind that they're not afraid to cut ties if...
Yeah, and they're not worried about...
Because I don't think... I mean, I could be totally wrong, because I don't think they're going to do anything with Colin preemptively. Like, I don't think they'll fire him after one bad movie. Like, his other 2 movies were well-received.
Right.
Like, his other 2 bigger movies were well-received. So I don't think they'll take him off, like, right now. But if during filming things are going wrong, and when they really go over the script, once they're in production, at least I have confidence that once they're filming stuff and editing and things aren't working, they're not afraid to be like, things aren't working.
Especially if they're saying, character-wise, someone isn't working.
Exactly.
Because that's the only thing that I'm like... I really worry about in movies, is characterization. Obviously, we've talked extensively about this, and because these movies are fairy tales and they're character-driven, the characters have to make sense and be believable and be the same character throughout these movies. So, the fact that we can pretty much kind of guarantee that Han Solo happened because of characterization, I'm pretty confident that that's what happened.
Me too.
That makes me excited. That they're like, nope, characters aren't lining up, you gotta go.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to, like, bend a little bit, then we're just gonna tell you to leave.
Yeah. Because, yeah, you're taking probably the most beloved Star Wars, like,
I
think Han is probably the most beloved Star Wars character.
I would say that.
You're in such risky ground, and it's... Because, and some people were also complaining that they're like, well, why'd they wait so long? And I'm sure because they were like, well, maybe it's going to work. They did give them a chance, and they did wait to see if it's going to work.
I feel like they were trying to be fair to them. They were like, well, we have faith in
maybe we
you.
Don't see eye to eye right now, but maybe we could be wrong. I do think they gave them a chance to be proven wrong. And at the end of the day, they stuck to their guns, and they're... I mean, what I like a lot about the Star Wars, like, cast and stuff is... their ability to be like, you know what? They chose this direction, and we were proven wrong. They made the right thing. Like Mark Hamill with The Last Jedi. Not Last Jedi, or...
No, wasn't it The Last Jedi when he was like, I don't like the choices that they've made for Luke? Or
that, but I'm talking more in particular of how originally he didn't like...
Han's death?
Or his entrance.
Oh, got it.
He thought it was too cheesy and too gratuitous, and everyone was just going to be, like, applauding and, like... And then... he didn't, when he saw the scene come together with the music and everything, he was like, no, never mind, that's how it should have been.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was going to be this way too gratuitous, here's Luke Skywalker,
here he is.
Dramatic take off hood, turn around. But it actually came together quite well. So he's like, I've never been happier to be proved wrong about a movie. So, yeah, I think, honestly, I do think they gave them Because,
I'm just giggling about Mark being like, it'll be too cheesy, and I'm like, Mark, your original movies are cheese factories.
So cheesy.
But...
And, like, he might not have used the word cheesy, but...
Well, you know.
Something along those lines. But, I think this lasted as long as they did because they wanted to be proven wrong.
Yeah. And I like that it seems like Lucasfilm and Disney had faith, because they were like, it makes it seem like they respected
And it seemed
Lord
like
Miller.
this has been an issue for a little bit. And maybe they even gave them the chances to be like, okay, we need these, like, little adjustments. Like, Han can't be like this, and maybe it didn't happen. But I think it went on as long as it did because they have respect for Lord Miller. Yeah. So...
But when it didn't work out, they were like, it's time for the divorce.
Yes. Sorry.
I still want the best for you. We still have the kid. It's fine. Your name will still be on
custody.
it. Yeah.
We just need to go back and reshoot Han a bit differently.
Yeah. You can see the kid on the weekends, but it's our kid now.
Yeah. Right now it's a bit of an issue, but I have faith. And for the first time in a long time, I kind of have some comfort in the Star Wars world, which just sounds so bad because this is such an upturned thing. Like, this is such an insane thing that somehow brings me comfort, but it's just like, okay, no, Lucasfilm, I trust them. They...
And again, it's not because we don't like Lord Miller, guys. We do.
Yeah, it's literally just because I've liked everything that Lucasfilm has made under the Disney brand. And I loved Rogue One, and that had to go through a bunch of a similar situation.
There you go, good words.
And I think it benefited in the long run. So I do think, I think it's gonna be good.
Absolutely.
So yeah, guys, that's today's podcast, and we did have a whole second half of it for today, but
this was long enough.
This was definitely long enough.
It was mostly us saying the same thing, but you're welcome.
Yeah, it was. It's fine. It's alright.
We just want you guys to feel calm. If we keep saying stay calm 50,000 times, will you guys stay calm?
I think it's just because I've been on Twitter seeing the insanity that I feel like I keep needing to repeat it.
Yeah. Because Twitter is notorious for stuff like that.
Because I do understand the concern, but...
Oh, absolutely.
But maybe just my dumb brain just needing that. Alright, silver lining, it's good. So yeah, be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube if you're listening to us on YouTube, or, even better, iTunes. Give us a rating and a review, because those make us happy, and those are fun.
Not to say that YouTube comments don't, but it's more... I don't know. For some reason, it's more fun to see an iTunes rating, because I think it's way less likely that people ever do it.
No, I agree. I think
it's like,
a rare chance.
You had to go through the effort to do this?
Yeah.
For us?
For us. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media, which is @Knights of Rant. And for those of you who want to hear more of me in particular, I was on my friend's podcast, 0 Days Without a Podcast, not a podcast around friends, 0 Days Without a Star Wars Reference.
Oh.
I did a couple guest spots there. One is not out yet, but 2 are. So go check that out. It is called 0 Days Without a Star Wars Reference, and that is with my friend Peter DeChico. But yeah, thanks guys for listening to another episode of Who Talks First. I am one of your hosts. I'm CT.
And I'm Solo. I have no relation to Han Solo.
Whatsoever. Bye.
Bye.